I know you're listening. You're here because something isn't right. Something feels twisted, upside down. Things don't add up. Hello, human. Welcome to our twisted universe. Welcome back for part 2 of our interview with Psychic Medium Seth Michael.
Support this channel by visiting asaricrystals.com. Asari crystals are precision cut by Paul Jensen. He uses Marcel Vogel's technique to amplify the crystal. Asari crystals are tools for evolution. They're created for healers and psychics. These are powerful tools that can assist with spiritual growth and protection. Thank you for your support. Can you tell me what is the difference between a psychic and a medium? I always get it confused.
Well, okay, so mediumship refers more to spirit communication, and psychic refers more to connecting with energy, thought forms. You can kind of connect with, well, then it would go, more to mediumship. Psychics a lot of times get things about the future. They'll get things about a person's past without them saying anything about it or giving any indication of what their past was. There's different abilities too. There's like we mentioned, the claircognizance, and claircognizance is the intuitive ability where a thought will just jump in. So it's like, oh, I better turn right, not left, or I better slow down. Then you find out an accident. You see an accident. There is the seeing clairvoyant, and that is where you're, say, driving on the freeway, and all of a sudden you see an accident in your mind, and then you decide to slow down, and then it happens. So just an example, where some people will see things about a war, or they'll get like doomsday visions, which isn't especially if you don't know how to stop things. So sometimes visions can be very unnerving too. Sometimes it's symbolism. An accident doesn't always mean an accident. It might mean something else is coming that's out of your control. So then there is the clairaudience. Somebody might hear, turn right, or somebody's going to call, or blah, blah's on the phone, and then all of a sudden and then the other one is a lot of people do have feelings. So I have a bad feeling about that person, or I have a bad feeling about this situation. So I just feel I better do something different, or not go in today, or whatever. So those a lot of other times are psychic, and the medium is more about they're picking up on spirits rather than just information. All mediums apparently are psychics, but not mediums. And so I feel a lot of mediums are empaths. I just from people I met, because I can feel the spirit too, but not all of them. Some of them, use their other abilities. So, and so I was saying with the empath too, it can get kind of messy. It could get kind of confusing, not kind of, very confusing. For example, one time I was in the store and just shopping, and all of a sudden I couldn't move, I couldn't think. Just was so odd. And I'm like, all of a sudden thinking about suicide, just out of the blue. And I'm like, wait, what the hell? And I had to think about it. I kind of had to desert myself going through this. And then it turns out, I believe a spirit sort of jumped in my energy field that had committed suicide. And so I say, you know what? I know what's going on, but you got to back up so I can help you, so I can figure out what to do. So he went out of me, and I felt totally like my. So then I was able to, explain, well, this is what you can do if you want to change your situation. And that's a part of a protection too, especially for empaths, to be aware. Like, wait a minute, how do I just all of a sudden have this feeling? there's no triggers, it might not be me. And if you're looking on the psychic realm of it, you could be connecting with a friend that's maybe having a hard time that you're just not, and then you call them later, and my day was sucky. I just felt really terrible. And like, wait a minute, I felt like that too, but I don't have a reason.
Yeah.
So it can be kind of tricky to know what to do and where it's coming from. So a lot of times, if you don't know where it's coming from, it's helpful to write it down, put a date, time, everything, what you were doing, what your thoughts were, and then it may come back. Something might come back on it later. We can look back and go, oh, I see the correlation. I see the connection.
It's hard to determine. I know what you mean by that. I took one of your classes once, and I remember you saying this, and it just blew me out of the water. And you said, empaths, because I'm an empath, and I feel people to an extreme, degree. Like I know their whole story sometimes.
Yeah.
But you said you could be feeling spirit too. Like their emotions can come on. I never once in a million years ever thought that I would be, as an empath, affected by a spirit crossing by, And so
Yeah.
not only do you have to be aware of the people, but also spiritual energy. What do you do to protect yourself from that kind of bombardment, or like it's a kind of a surprise attack, you don't expect it.
To keep from being overwhelmed by
Yeah, it is overwhelming.
Yeah, there's a lot of different techniques you could try, and some of it takes time for it to set in. Say, being aware, like it takes practice to go, wait a minute, I just had an emotion change, rather than getting angry, like gosh, and throwing things or whatever, all of a sudden out of the blue, like just being pissed. Like, wait a minute, why am I pissed all of a sudden? What just happened? It's like asking questions, kind of observing yourself having these experiences, and then trying to figure out, well, could it be my environment? And if not, then you can say something like, if somebody's here, I need you to back off. People sometimes will do a white light or a violet light. Violet light is the one I usually suggest because it's all the colors. So it's pretty powerful. Like in the Incredibles, Violet, when she had her bubble,
Oh yeah,
she
yeah.
could make bubbles, and so that is something. There's a lot of different uh gems that people use, or stones, like black tourmaline or black obsidian. um it's different people, so it would be a matter of practicing different things. But for me, awareness was always really important, and a good connection with a spirit that they some say from the light, or someone that you feel has your back. So it could be a spirit guide that you're connected with, or a grandfather that you really trusted in that passed away and you feel them around. Or I think we can also ask for help, and a lot of times they say you have to ask permission to receive the help. So you say, hey, I'm giving you permission to intervene to help this dull, or help this get out of my energy field. Big fan just blowing everything out of your field. Oh, and then there's a lot of self-care too. It's like, wow, I just went through hell. I'm just gonna go watch a movie, or or just kind of distract back your mind, because sometimes we found in hauntings too, people will want to go back to the spirit for whatever reason. Like, let's say they've had a harrowing experience, it's gone, but they still have that trauma replaying over and over, and that could possibly call spirits back again, or different spirits, because that energy still kind of like that. So it's like changing that, so shifting the whole, they call it in our field vibration, shifting the whole feeling. Because if you come into a room after somebody had an argument, most people will feel that tension, like, whoa, it's thicker than a knife, or so thick you cut it with a knife. People have said that before. And so there's something. It's like these little tentacles are like sensing stuff, that we can't see, and And then, so yeah, it's important to go, okay, I need to clear myself or protect myself, picture myself in a brick wall or whatever, a vault, whatever needs to be done. Visualizations are helpful. And
I
meditation is too, calming the mind, and that helps with awareness so that you can be aware of subtle changes going on in your.
I was one time somebody said I thought it was really good. Ask yourself, is this mine or is it
Yes,
something else? Was that you?
yes,
It might have
perfect.
been your class.
Yeah, I actually forgot to see that, so that's awesome. This time, yeah, thank you.
Listening.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. That's part of the awareness. Like, is this me? Just kind of asking questions. Is a thought I had, or so? Yeah, and it's, you won't always get the answer to it though. And that's when you could just take steps like just some people grab, like their favorite rock, or they just, like I said, a picture of their energy clearing out or distract themselves, or change their mindsets on it.
that's awesome. So, what is the White Light Paranormal group? What do you guys do? How did you get going and all that? You and Jill started
Yeah,
after.
it was after. Hmm.
I noticed there was a lot of activity in that Camas area.
Yeah. Yeah, there sure is. We're good here now in our house, thankfully. But yeah, there's a lot of native, well, everywhere, issues too, where there's still unsettled things with the land, bloodshed, and a lot of anger, and just crappy energy like that. So I think land healings are really important. And sometimes it's not the house always. It's what's underneath, or what happened long before.
We felt like our house out there had there was an issue with the land. It was causing a lot of the activity in our house.
Mm.
Our house was for sure haunted big time, but it wasn't just our house. Like whatever energy, I think it was an entity, also affected our neighbor's house. And it wasn't like a haunting so much. It was more than that. And so I mean, we kind of, there was so much going on. There were hauntings too, because Joe did have a transplant, and after he came home from the hospital, it was like a beacon went off. We had so much activity after that too.
My
Oh,
donor
interesting.
my donor hung around for quite some time to make sure I was taking good care of the parts he donated to me.
Oh, wow.
If
And
if I slipped up, he let me know.
it turned out, it was a young donor, which is very sad and
Yeah,
all that. But we had three young daughters. They were teenagers at the time, and he just wanted to hang around.
yeah.
He was like, my daughter would feel like her foot being grabbed and all kinds of crazy, super weird. Yeah, we heard like footsteps going up the stairs and walking down the hall, and I remember looking at Joe and I'm like, who just came home? And he's like, it's nobody. And I'm like, I just heard the stairs. I heard him go up the stairs. No, nobody's here. I'm like, no way. We go up there. It's nobody's there.
Yeah.
It was so
Like I said, I'd be home alone working remotely, and like there'd be noises. I could hear the footsteps back and forth up and down the hallway, upstairs and stuff. And then I could feel when he was like looking over my shoulder, watching what I was doing and just kind of messing with me because I'd get the hairs on the back of my neck kind of thing. And I could kind of feel his presence. And I'd have to tell him, look, I'm trying to work right now. We can hang out later, but I can't, I just can't right now. Okay. Can we come back? Can you come back later? And it would stop. He'd leave and then come back later.
Yeah, sometimes that's all that's needed, is just letting them know, hey, you're scaring me right now, or you're bugging me right now, or that happened at work. We have something going on there. I work at a restaurant, and it often turns on by itself. And one time, one of the owners just was not in the mood, and she basically told them that I'm not in the mood for this music thing, and it turned right off. And that was the first time it actually turned off by itself, especially on demand. So yes, it's just a matter of just letting them know. Sometimes, in my experience, they don't always know what
Right.
they're doing or how they're affecting us.
Yeah.
For the what we do is we do the investigations. We have equipment. We have the DVR system, so we have cameras. We've got recorders, our digital recorders, so we can catch EVPs, voices, spirit voices, and we use an SLS camera sometimes, just for the heck of it. Can't prove that there's something there through really any of this, but we EVPs are hard to in a way when they're full sentences and they're clear voices, class A. It's hard to say that was just your mind imprinting on the a recorder, which some people do believe that that's the case, but I don't know. I believe it's actually spirit voices. A lot of times it'll come in whispers. So but anyway, so they focus on that stuff, the investigators, and then the mediums, and we have several mediums on the resolving of it. So first we'll try to get the, as they call the paranormal evidence, and then we'll try to get the resolve right after that. Like the next day we'll come in, and the investigators don't rile any of them up. Like, hey, asshole, have I ever heard people do that to spirits? Like, hey, asshole, throw something, or throw this at my friend's head, or say my name, say my name. It's like circus tricks. Or they come off really rudely, like wanting evidence, and they're just mean about it, and we don't do that at all. We're very respectful, and most cases people are respectful, but there are some teams that aren't. So it's
I,
important to make sure you know what team you're getting.
that's my cousin's in Orange County, California, and they have a terrible haunting, like slamming doors. My aunt said that the door slams so fast, like it's not like a normal speed of somebody would have, it goes faster. Just all kinds of weird stuff. And they brought in like a paranormal group there, and I think they came in, like you were saying, just kind of rough and tumbled, and the activity got worse after.
Yeah, that's what happens. Yep.
I've heard that a lot.
That yeah. Because we've had a case of that too. Somebody went in a kid's room and they were on YouTube calling up a really bad, known spirit into the kid's room, that he was calling them from a different location. And he was being really rude. And the investigator downstairs was hearing him, and she was saying, "Don't listen to him, don't listen to him." She ended up being on our team instead. But yeah, and then I wanted to mention Kenton Station too. Like, if anybody's local, we do tours. If you go on Facebook, you'll find out when our tours are. We do them a few times a year now, and they're free. And they're haunted basement. Kenton Station is on Facebook, and then you can find out, the dates. I might have repeated myself, sorry. But anyway, I'm thinking about we have a lot of different stories we tell. We had a lot of experiences down there, and before there were scratches, there were kind of rough, but when we took it over, we that was the team that didn't believe in what we did, because we actually helped a couple of spirits, we believe, cross over, and they were mad. The people were mad that we didn't have any permission from the owner to do that. And how would you like if someone let your pets free? Like, what? Where? Because the investigator they said that to was like, what? They're ghosts aren't pets, spirits aren't pets. So
Wow.
she's like, screw you guys, I'm going with them, because she wanted us of a team that helps, that tries to attempt to make something better with it, or at least learn from it, or try to learn how to protect, or just not leave them hanging and like rile things up for evidence.
Yeah, I mean, they're calling you for help.
Yeah, yeah, and people don't always know that the some of the teams are more for evidence than not, and some teams they work on debunk. They don't believe in ghosts, but they, like a lot of TAPS team, they're not spiritually based. So it's important to get what your belief is, because that's perfect for some people. You know, that's what they need. They need to be more on like what's happening behind this. But you know, and then we do that too in our investigation part. That's when we try to, well, hey, you know, the heater's running weird or making a noise, or this is happening, or the mediums aren't sensitive. Let's find out what maybe is going on. And but then we go to the other side too, where we're open to connecting with spirits, and that always, are they going to have evidence in our opinion, belief? It just might be a subtle spirit, so we'll connect with them the best we can, and they might not have an EVP, but people have felt them like that. So yeah, so it all depends. Like, so important to find out what team systems are to make sure, because if you're Catholic, a Wiccan team is not going to be a best fit, because the beliefs will clash.
Right.
Just like if you're a Wiccan and you call them Catholics, that the same thing. It's not going to be, unless they're okay, unless people are open with the different beliefs, that it'll work, because it's their own process and that's how they do it. So
that's interesting. I thought it would be more of an obscure profession. So to hear there's many different.
Oh yeah. And there are some people that actually charge, and the majority do not charge. So you can donate to some teams if you want, but if anyone charges, I would steer clear from that team.
You would?
Because you can't guarantee that you're gonna be able to help them. You can only just do what you and hope for the best and keep trying, and you might have to suggest somebody else, and then why would they have to pay another person? Or you know what I mean? It's just too many factors in
that. That's we had a couple come to our house when
oh, really?
Yeah, just it wasn't a team exactly. It was a couple psychics, but yeah, I wasn't sure what was going on there, and it was what we told you, it was the donor. But yeah, when my daughter's foot was being grabbed, and
so it all stopped then, or
once we found out who it was, we just kind of were more okay with it, and we're grateful. We're grateful, and so we were able to thank him. And
yeah, and then after that, he just kind of became another kid in the house, another teenager in the house, basically, and was like, it went on for maybe 3-4 months after.
Yeah.
It kind of diminished over that time, and eventually it just stopped.
Okay.
But, then some of the other things that we encountered kind of ramped up after that too. So
there was more there than just him.
Yeah. Like we were saying, the land has some kind of dark energy going on with it.
It's hard to say what that was.
Couldn't describe it. Couldn't define it, I should say.
It's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
And and most people don't want to deal with those things.
Yeah, no. Yeah, and sometimes it's nearly impossible to get whatever it is. Sometimes that does happen. Sometimes it's having to do with, like, one was an apartment that had an elevator on the other side of the bedroom, and the EMF, electronic, or no, EMF, I can't think of the name. Oh, what's EMF again?
Electromagnetic frequency.
Thank you very much. That was going through the chart, so it was actually physically happening. It was actually giving off from the electronic, from the elevator equipment, was making it. What we were witnessing was like spirits were being drawn to that and utilizing that energy. So, and then plus, it could cause hallucinations, too much natural EMF, and it could cause things to happen. So I told them they're safer living on the streets of Portland than in that apartment, because there was so much going on. Even we stayed overnight and I got grabbed. So it was, and the dog would just stare in the space and pee on himself.
Oh,
It was just bad. There was just too much going on with the kids and being harassed and you know, so I think some of it was spirit, induced, like the spirits were really there, and then some of it I think was just the natural EMF issues. So
Yeah.
like something like that, what do? You can't really take out the elevator.
Yeah, there's not much you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would be
And
my,
some people are real open to stuff like that too. So the more you're open or more susceptible, the more can happen. The more I believe spirits are drawn to people that are open. Meaning even if we don't realize it, we're just kind of all over the place sometimes, and we might be drawing in certain spirits that are trying to get our attention. We don't always know. We don't
Yeah.
always realize that that's happening.
it seems like a lot of people are superstitious. They're like, shh, don't talk about it. If we pretend
Yeah,
that they're not there, they'll just kind of go away. Is that true or not true?
it all depends on the spirit. Sometimes they will. Sometimes they do go on their own. And then sometimes it's like they're trying to get a need met, or they, like I said, they don't know they passed on. That's the first thing I usually say if I sense a spirit. Do you know you passed on? And I've heard things like no shit. so, so then there were times where all of a sudden I feel them cross right after they said that. So
What
it's
does
like, oh,
it feel
gone.
like?
Whoops, what was that?
What does that feel like when they cross over? Do you
It
feel
feels like you're almost want to say like, I don't know why I had this picture of a rubber band like around your waist. It's kind of like it's not quite like that. It's more like this this feeling is like a heavy, thick, intense feeling. So it's like you're hooked up to something like a tube is coming out of your solar plexus, your stomach, and it's hooked into something else. So you're getting all these images and feelings, and all of a sudden you're feeling dire, desperate sadness, or intense anger, rage, or humiliation, or whatever it is, something really usually intense. And then it's not you because you've just come real clear, and you're just all of a sudden, and so you're talking, and then when you say that certain thing that reminds them that, oh, I can change this if I want to, it stops. Like it all of a sudden feels lighter. And when we've done things like that in people's homes, all of a sudden it does look literally like the light turn. It's pretty amazing how it's like a rock versus a feather feeling.
interesting?
So that part the movies get right because they do that a lot of times when like I don't know, poltergeist, all of a sudden it's all light in the room when they clear the poltergeist out. And
Yep.
so it's kind of like that. It's that weight in the room that's you could cut with a knife is gone.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's completely it's finished. So then we always suggest, watching funny movies, having good family time, keeping, things lighter there and just changing some people's smudge. They do change the energy, kind of heal, the energy that was pierced, so to speak. So that's important too, to just revamp things. Sometimes you can move around your furniture or get plants or, anything to like change the atmosphere. So to keep it changed.
I did hear that messy houses and cluttered houses can encourage like a darker energy to hang around. Is that something you?
Yeah, because it's a chaotic energy in itself.
Mhm.
And so some spirits are attracted to chaos because they've come from a chaotic situation. So that's where it matches. They go where they match usually,
Yeah.
in my experience.
I've heard it referred to as spiritual dust. Just like the dust that collects in the
Right.
clutter, the spiritual dust will also collect.
That makes sense to me. Yeah.
So you have to clean
So,
house both physically and spiritually.
yes. Yes. That and then you notice a difference with the cleaning, and that's also on the spiritual side of it too.
Yeah.
That's something to think about. Do you have like a certain situation or a house or a client that you had a supernatural experience with that kind of stands out as to be the most incredible experience you've ever had?
there's so many. It's hard really to pinpoint one, but I think one of the most impactful ones was this apartment. This lady let us know that her computer, the disk tray was opening and closing on its own. I think she was hearing voices. There was different around. There was I think other things were moving around. I can't remember exactly what the experiences were, the activity, but they called us. She called us in, and she explained that. And this is before, so the investigators and case manager will know what's going on, but the mediums won't. We'll go in clear. We will go in not knowing a darn thing, except this is the apartment or this is the house, and we don't know what activity they had. So we'll pre-impressions where we connect even without going there first. They call it remote viewing, and we'll write down what we get. And for me, like I don't need pictures or anything. I just kind of follow the client's thought, or I don't exactly know how it works, but I'll pick up on the spirits. And then we got a lot of different pre-impressions about somebody being very distraught there, and there was more than one, and we'd have to I'd have to look back at the notes, but it was pretty. But what happened was this mom, her daughter, she was living in a house, and her daughter, there was a problem with her kid. The husband was taking the kid, and she was losing custody. She was having a really hard time in life, depression, diagnosed with bipolar, and she shot herself in the head. Shooting herself in the head is actually very significant in this story, because when the mom moved in, she said, "Well, I gotta, you leave my environment. I got a different." She went in this apartment, things were happening, and then the manager said, "Well, don't you know what happened?" Because she said there's weird stuff going on. She goes, "No, a guy had killed his wife, shot her in the head, and then shot himself in the head in that apartment where she, now the mom of the daughter that committed suicide, lived."
Wow.
And so when we went in, I was hearing three voices, and it was really interesting because I'd hear them argue with each other, the man and the wife, and then I'd hear the daughter. And so we really had a really good connection, and we believe all three of them crossed over. And the mom had a great connection with her daughter in spirit form, even after that, even better. But there was a compelling EVP where the case manager asked on the recording, has anyone, you or yourself or anyone in your family, experienced a mental illness or diagnosis? And then you can say, "I have." That did not say it at the time. It was a spirit voice, we believe. So we believe it was her daughter saying that she was diagnosed with something. So yeah, that was pretty intense, and that the feelings just released. So no more heaviness there, no more activity. That was pretty impactful.
Yeah.
Sounds like you may have saved the mom too.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it feels very rewarding, and it always feels like a blessing to be able to, or I don't know if blessing's the right word. It's just, I'm real grateful to be a part of that healing for other people.
Yeah, I get that. It's very rewarding and it's very fascinating.
Yeah, you learn so much, like stuff, like I didn't even know this because I've been doing this for, you kind of get things like you didn't really know was possible. Like for a while, I just thought it was either earthbound spirits or not earthbound spirits. So it was like negative entities or earthbound spirits. But then it was like, wait a minute, there's an earthbound, so it was a human. But then I was seeing and feeling something on the earthbound, an attachment. So now, not everyone believes this, but I believe it. Spirits can influence people. Sometimes they might be hearing them saying, like if they're really drunk, they could be like, hearing all these thoughts or all these voices. That might be a spirit saying, "Hey, we're worthless. Let's just kill ourselves." Kind of.
Hmm.
I believe it's a possible, and I believe that it could follow people and kind of attach themselves and then go with them on the other side. So I'll try to peel that off. I'll ask for the spirits to peel anything that might not be supposed to be there, that might be there, to get it away, to release it, and send it to where its highest, greatest good is, and then work with the spirit. So not everybody comes across that or has that. I just, something I've kind of figured out for myself, working with some people,
And
spirits.
why not? I mean, it makes sense. They're
Yeah.
almost like parasites.
Yeah.
Well, I'm on.
That's exactly how I picture it. And it's weird because whenever there's a negative entity around, usually I'll feel something on my back, even if it's not on my back. It's just a sensation that I get, like something's like right there, and it won't go away until it's gone. It's very uncomfortable.
I've felt that before. Even you just talking about it, I'm like, oh, I can remember
I know.
felt.
That's the thing. It's been some time we haven't done anything paranormal, and I'm kind of liking not having spirits show up out of the blue because I've been taking a break from readings too. So it's been more clear than it has been, because when you are working with this stuff, you're thinking about this stuff, it could draw people in, spirits in, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it has for me. So
On their side, you probably start looking like a help center, like you're the spiritual help
yeah,
desk. And they're like,
yeah,
hey, I can help, and they all come running.
yeah, exactly. It's like, but we call it a bug light.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
spirits. There's like kind of drawn, even if we're not understanding or aware that there's spirits trying to get in touch with us. It makes people feel kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So a lot of people say, I hope you don't think I'm crazy. Well, we're the last people to judge crazy, because
Right.
nothing to me is crazy like that. The only thing with I've had people on meth ask, like this one guy called and he said, I want you to tell my mom that you see the demons too. And I didn't see any demons. I didn't see anything negative with him. He may have seen them, or it could be just the way the brain had changed from the meth. I don't know. But I told him I cannot say what I'm not seeing. Just be able to, your mom to believe you that they're really there, right? So that was sad. So sometimes drug use too, and things like that could bring on, either you're put in a totally different place and not everybody could see, or your brain is doing things that may or may not be there. It's hard to stop that. I think those are sad situations. You can't really do much about.
Except for suggest they get mental help or mental.
Yeah, for those, I suggest to close off as much as you can, like to ignore it, to do other things, because that can be very, very harrowing, scary, and and definitely get help. I would, I suggest people get help on that, professional help, like from a mental, like a doctor.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always one to say, hey, go to an energy healer or do something spiritual, but that doesn't cure all for sure.
Yeah.
No, actually, the issues that I had, I don't know if we're going over time, but real quick, Fred, I had a lot of emotional issues growing up, and the thing that helped me actually was a mental health thing. It was classes called dialectical behavior therapy, and I need to do more refreshers now, but cleared up so much in my emotions that I was able to observe myself more and not react as much as I used to. So like I said, I need refreshers now, but that really cleared me up, and I was able to kind of gauge what was going on better. So it was like a mental health thing, but it actually helped me spiritually. I was getting spirits more clear, details more clear. It was pretty awesome. So if you don't what you're taught, though, it can kind of slip away a little bit. So I'm gonna, I've been listening to videos and stuff again, and kind of get me back to that thinking again, because you get too muddled otherwise, too many emotions at once. And
Right. You have to improve your signal to
hard.
noise ratio.
Yeah, it's hard to feel so much, and some
Yeah.
people just naturally do. Like, you can't, I don't know how to dull your emotions if you're just very emotionally charged. I don't know how to totally cut it off, you know, that's healthy anyway. So that's why it is important to get, help and find out ways you can think differently about it, perceive it differently, and do a lot of, caring about yourself rather than putting yourself down and judging yourself. So that all affects us spiritually, I believe.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I think I think we're changing our perspective on things now, and there's a lot more tolerance for people that are struggling, and I feel like there's a lot more resources, but it's good to bring that up. I appreciate that you did. And what was that therapy you said you were?
Dialectical behavior therapy. It's the best of cognitive therapies with Eastern's philosophy. So even if you just listen to Eckhart Tolle, that's kind of the process that they take of like the power of now, being in the moment. They call it mindfulness, and the other parts of it are like emotional regulation. They teach how to stay at a certain, like a wavelength with your emotions rather than up and down and up and down and up and down. And interpersonal relationships teach you how to talk to people. I mean, it's not, none of it's perfect. They always call it practice, but they really push meditation too, which I think is really good. And that helps spiritually too and mentally for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I think
There's different
that
ways to
we're
meditate.
overwhelmed. Like there's so much
Yeah.
information and people needing and people having access to you now because you have your cell phone. Whereas before you could just, leave the house. Remember way back, like, 30 years ago before
Yeah.
cell phones, you know, you could just go and like take a drive or whatever, but now you're always on the leash, always.
Yeah, true.
That's
So
True.
you take the drive and you come back and it's like, oh, I've got 2 messages.
Yeah.
not 50 in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
how does somebody find you, Seth, if they want to reach out to your group or?
I have Facebook. Like I said, I'm taking a break from reading, so I disabled my website for now. But you could get a hold of us through White Light Paranormal Insight on Facebook. I still have my Facebook page, Seth Michael, Psychic Advisor Medium. And like if there's any questions or people want to know, about tips on their abilities, if they're feeling overwhelmed, they can give me a message. And then All Around Us has a Facebook page too. That's that documentary. So I got to make sure that I hit everything because Jill she gave me some bullet points. So we talked about White Light. Okay, Oregon Ghost Conference. There's for local people in the Pacific Northwest, it's going to be at Seaside on March 26th. It's our 11th annual. We have classes, investigations, booths, speakers, classes, tons of classes. I think we have gallery readings, all kinds of different fun stuff. Ghostbusters are there. So just look that up, Oregon Ghost Conference. You'll find it on Facebook or website. Kenton Haunted Station, you can go down there. It's a free tour. Ghost tours are in October. And then we do the Camas Haunted Tours. So right now, if you look up me, you can find all the activities we do. I put it on my page. And yeah, and that's pretty much, I think we covered a lot.
Yeah. Well, it was great talking to you today, and we definitely want to support you and check out your movie. That's incredible. I've been wanting to see it. So.
Yeah.
Oh, and I want to give a shout out to the wild hair in Camas because Jill, my fiance, she's the owner there, and I did readings out of there, so she was really cool. So my office is a break room now, but it's really cool going in there and kind of feeling that, remembering the readings that I had there because it was 13 years full time there, so it was awesome.
Hmm.
So I miss doing that, but sometimes you just need to change things for a while.
I would like to endorse that salon because they do a lot of fashion colors there, and like if you want to do something fun and interesting, that's a really great salon to go to. The Wild Hair and Camas. And the other thing, oh, Jill is really involved in the community there, which is really cool. Aren't you like Camas members, or I saw
Yeah,
some.
the downtown association, the Camas Downtown Association, yeah, they're a group of people, and they do a lot of stuff for the community, and they make it, available for us to contribute. So like when we did the haunted tours, that all the proceeds went to, so
That's
things
great.
like that. We try to volunteer when we can, and they're very open to what we do. So, which is awesome. Not all small towns would be into
No,
or support that. So
that's neat. Yeah,
yeah,
so
I never had a problem.
you're supporting the community, lots of fun stuff going on, and getting your hair done. I definitely would recommend this.
Very cool.
And check out your website, your Facebook page. We'll have that all listed in the descriptions below. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Yeah, thank you, Seth.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much for having me.
We'll be talking to you soon.
Okay. Good
Bye.
night.
Night.
Bye-bye.